we're going to do is we're going to take a few of the components of the Khalid, Tiga, Empot, and Lima Jurus from the Terracotta Cimande Jurus, the village Jurus. We're going to take a few of those elements and create like a free-flowing drill. So what we'll do is we'll take the Khalid motion, we'll take the single leaf parry, we'll take the cross hit with the break, we'll take the hammer fist. We're going to leave out the web of the thumb parry. So we'll just mix these together randomly. So we have here, 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 and here. We're going to mix these together randomly. So you have leaf parries, you have your cross hit with your breaks, Khalid, and so now what you can do is you can try to create a situation where you're using the most appropriate strike at the most appropriate time. So what will happen is when you're just standing here, you can use the black cobra position or the Cimande stance. You can kind of have it in the center. This is obviously common sense, but if he punches on this side, use your forehand leaf parry and the Jurus that use that as the first motion. So your Khalid, your Salute, things like that. If he punches on that side. If he punches on this side, you use your cross hit to start your Jurus, and you use the Jurus that have the cross hit as the beginning of the Jurus. So when we're in the middle of a motion, that same concept holds. So if I'm hitting him here with this Khalid, and he comes on this side, I use a similar motion. All right. If I'm here and he comes around this way, I use my cross hit motion. All right. So we can play around with these different ideas within the context of a free-flowing drill where he's throwing random, strikes, and I'm using these random motions to deal with it. Later, we can start to add different striking angles. For right now, these Jurus are used to deal with this type of straight punch. So he's going to continue to throw straight punches. Obviously, someone doesn't just come up to you in a fight and throw all straight punches. So we can modify these motions in any way that you can think of to be able to deal with anything. And maybe we'll do another video where we add a few different other strikes to different height levels. The thing is, when people strike at different height levels, you don't use the same tools for everything. So when I'm here in my fighting stance and he punches, I use my leaf parries, I use my hands, I use my forearms maybe, I use my elbows, I bring them up. All right. When he strikes into the middle range, we have the elbows down here to block and the forearms down here to block. You need to really make sure that you pay attention to keeping your hands where they're supposed to be in your fighting stance. As soon as you start to lower your hands a little bit, which a lot of times I see people make this mistake, they have their fighting stance and it's here. When you put your hands here, when someone comes in at the middle height level, your tendency is, your instinct tells you to move your hands to there, which takes them out of the way for covering your face. So if your instinct is to block with the thing that's closest, which is what you want to block with whatever's closest. If I'm here and he punches at my face, I want to block with what's closest. It's the fastest. If he's punching towards the center, the fastest thing for me to get to that point is something that's already there. All right? As soon as I start to drop my hands, if I parry here and he punches at my face next, there's nothing that's closest to my face. All right? So it's slower. I'm probably still going to be able to bring my hand back up to block, but it's just, you don't want to bet on things like that. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where speed is a necessity. You want it to be the most economical motion. You want it to be the fastest motion, but you don't want to have to be faster than the other guy. So if I'm here and he punches, it's very easy for me to block, and I can come right back to the center, and I'm ready for another punch almost immediately. I don't really have to move. If he punches at the middle, I can use these middle tools that I have. I can use my forearms and my elbows. Now, this rule does not always hold up. Obviously, you're going to be doing all kinds of different stuff. But when you're using these jurus up here, these are the jurus that are the most appropriate. These are the most appropriate motions for up here. So when you're blocking these strikes, we're using these jurus. If he started to throw other strikes, I wouldn't be using these jurus probably at the middle height level. Maybe some of them will still use, but Khalid is a little harder to do right here with the forearm. If I'm blocking with the forearm, this way, it's a totally different story. But if I'm trying to block with the same motion as Khalid, it's a little more difficult. So when he comes in at the middle height level, I'll be using other strikes. All right. So when you want to work these jurus, this is the height level that we're going to work them at. So when he comes in with his strikes, from here, here, here. And you can free flow through these motions. Also, when he starts to strike at you, you'll notice you're in a specific position. Try to figure out which position, which jurus, which motions are the most appropriate ones from that position. If I'm coiled this way, I'm obviously going to use this cross hit. Now this lends itself very well to what I wanted to go into next, which is if he strikes and you end up on the inside. Now if I'm here and he strikes on this side, I'm not going to come around with this parry just because I want to stay to the outside. That's a horrible thing to do. You're pulling the punch right towards your face. So you want to come to the outside here, or to the inside of his body here. You're hitting toward the outside of your body. And you can do these same motions to the inside. So if I'm moving in this drill again, and I'm doing my parry here, 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 and he punches here, and the closest thing for me to parry with is this. I'm on the inside now. I do my Khalid here, and the same thing, whatever feels like the most appropriate thing to do, that's what you want to do. So if I'm here and I'm opened up to do this parry here, fine. But now it's cross hit parry here. You want to use what's fastest, what uses the least amount of energy, the most economical strike. So as you're moving through these motions, just kind of find what's closest to the weapon that's striking at you. And later you can start to look at different variations of the jurus that we're using. So you have Khalid. I can use this longer range version of Khalid with the fist here. Now it's easier for me to do that leaf parry on either side, which means now if I move in and I use the fist here, I can choose to do the cross hit parry, or I can choose to come around to this other side. So you've opened up more options for yourself. Sometimes it's good to use this middle knuckle and hit with your Khalid. Sometimes it's not. So it might open that option for you, but it's not always appropriate. This is a more long-range version of Khalid. I'm out farther, so I'm using my fist instead of my forearm. I move a little bit closer, I use my forearm. If I move a little bit closer than that, I might have to use my elbow. So you use whatever's the most appropriate tool. All right. So as he comes in, you can start to free flow through all these motions now. Here. You can use this forearm to hit to the bicep. You can use this middle knuckle to hit to the bicep like we were hitting to the head with this hammer fist strike. You can use this forearm to hit to the head. And you just get into a flow. You just start to flow with this.